All right, today we have an interesting one, and it is talking about Dolby Vision and HDR, but Dolby Vision specifically, because that's the one that seems to be the hot button topic. Either everyone absolutely loves it, they beg for it, they're disappointed that it's not in the new 4K that's being released. I get those messages all the time, but then I get the other end of it. It's Dolby Vision is ruining my picture, it's too dark, it's causing flickering issues. When I turn it off, everything is fixed. Natural colors seem to be on the HDR, but on Dolby Vision, it doesn't seem to be natural colors. And I get that conversation all the time. And in my own experience, I have seen really good 4K movies that have amazing Dolby Vision. And some of my all-time favorite movies, Leon and The Fifth Element. Two of my absolute favorite movies. I talk about it all the time. People are probably sick of it. But I've collected quite a few of the versions of the movies, and just comparing all the different versions on both of those movies, the Dolby Vision version always wins. I think it's the best possible picture. It's really sharp and clear, but also has amazing colors and the color palette. And before we go any further, let's give the actual kind of definition of what Dolby Vision is or does. And according to the web, Dolby Vision is an HDR technology that enhances the visual experience by optimizing contrast, brightness, and color. It expands the range of both the contrast and color, leading to a more immersive and lifelike picture. Dolby Vision works by using dynamic metadata to optimize each scene and even individual frames for optimal brightness, contrast, and color. And from everything else that I understand about this, it's done in real time. So your player's processor, your player processes that information in real time, scene by scene, frame by frame, and then it adjusts to give you the best possible picture or optimizes it. But not every player's made the same. Not every player has the same capabilities. So in that aspect, two people can have the exact same movie, same system, but then just a different player could cause a completely different experience. And one movie in particular, the Dolby Vision, once I turned it off, I got away from the problem that I was having, which other people report all the time with Dolby Vision in certain movies, causes like a flickering issue. Now, my copy of the Criterion version of Risky Business, the 4K, there's definitely several scenes. When I have Dolby Vision on, there's several scenes that go from light to dark in the movie. Like, that's just how it is. It's how it's recorded. But on the VHS, it's a very subtle, it's a light scene, it's a dark scene, and the transition's okay. But on the Dolby Vision, it is like super jarring. It's like fine, and then it's like completely dark, or it's like completely bright. And then there's one scene in particular in that Risky Business movie that she's laying on the bed, they're in a store, they're talking, and they're going from her face to his face, but behind his face is a window with light. And so it is literally like almost like turning a lamp on and off. And as soon as I turn the Dolby Vision off, it's fine. It looks great. It's an enjoyable experience. But that is my experience with that movie. I've talked about that before, and some people have seen what I was talking about and some people didn't. So it, again, probably just falls into the type of player you have. But I have the Panasonic UB9000, which is considered one of the best, and I use that to play all my Dolby Vision stuff. I also have the Sony 800 MX2, and I use that for all my HDR stuff. So I have two players, and I have them set up the way I want it. And I can go into the Sony menu and turn on Dolby Vision, but I'd rather not. And recently, I have come across this problem. So, Friends, the 4K box set that was released. This version specifically is the UK version. I don't know if that actually matters. From what I understand, it's the exact same transfer, but I just picked up the UK version because it happened to be on sale. And I was very disappointed by this when I got it. Dolby Vision, everything looking okay, sharp, clear, crisp. but just like many of the reports, and if you go to any Reddit forum looking for Dolby Vision problems, this was dark. Everything was dark. The colors weren't the same. And I've watched this show over and over and over again for years. I've had the original DVDs, and for me, the colors just weren't the same. They definitely weren't what I was used to watching. And so it was definitely a jarring experience. So much that I got to like the third episode and I couldn't watch it anymore. I was very disappointed. But then when I got to thinking, and this whole Dolby Vision problem, how so many people are having a problem with it, and the comments that I constantly get of Dolby Vision's ruining my picture, I put this in my Sony player with Dolby Vision turned off, and the colors are amazing. The colors are exactly the way I remembered them. Comparing it to the DVD, they're very similar. It's not too dark, but then having the 4K image looks amazing on my television now. And so I don't have to use those DVDs anymore. And it was just the simple fact of not using the Dolby Vision on this. Gave me a much better experience. Now, there's going to be a bunch of people in the comments talking about how maybe you have a budget TV or your settings are off. I've been professionally calibrating TVs since I was like 16. At like 18, I worked at Circuit City. I calibrated all the TVs every time they came out of the box. We had like a whole demo video that you had to watch to learn how to calibrate televisions and get the best possible picture. And then right out of the box, they have different settings to give you like the floor model or show model to give the most brightest picture in a showroom. And you're never going to have that in your home. So I have been calibrating TVs for the longest, but I also own a Sony OLED television. It's like about a year and a half, 2 years old now, but it was the high-end Sony at the time. So it's a Sony OLED. I'm using reference quality equipment, and I've been doing this for a long time. So I do have a little bit of knowledge behind this. It's not just some guy having a bad experience. This movie right here does not have Dolby Vision. Now, this is something of what some people would claim is like a bad transfer. Now, I don't think it's a bad transfer. What I think they did was, I think they amped up the colors or changed the colors or darkened it. This entire film, Snatch, I prefer the colors of the Blu-ray. I think what they did for the 4K is incredible. Looks great. It's beautiful. So this isn't a problem with Dolby Vision, but the entire image is dark. No matter what you do, no matter how you change it, it's still dark. The skin tones, because of the way they darkened it, gives you a little bit of a gray wash on the Caucasian people's faces. The black people's faces, they are a little bit darker than natural what they have. And so when I pop in the Blu-ray, the faces specifically stand out to me, being more natural. And there's the recent Demolition Man 4K from Arrow Video. I think it looks absolutely amazing. But Wesley Snipes, who is a very dark black man, in that looks extremely dark. And so it's just, is the Dolby Vision ruining the picture? Is it enhancing it in a way that's not natural? And I would say yes. And each disc is different, each player is different, everybody's going to have a completely different experience all around. But I would say if you don't like Dolby Vision, don't worry about it. In the past, I have gotten excited because of my experience with Leon the Professional and the Fifth Element movies, those Dolby Vision versions being the very best and the ones that I go to and the things that I enjoy. And so I have opted for Dolby Vision, and that was the way I would watch my 4Ks. Some were better than others, and I wasn't having a huge issue. But then this. So also, if you know me for any amount of time, I'm collecting every single version of my top 5 favorite movies of all time, and Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula, falls into that category. Now I had this version of the movie, and it was fine. I enjoyed it. I think it's an incredible 4K. I absolutely love this version of the movie. And as I've talked about it, I am not a steelbook collector anymore. But I will make exceptions for certain movies, especially in my top 5 favorites, And if it definitely has a different cover, I will try to get that version as well. Well, as this, it's basically the same cover, little bit differences. This is the 25th anniversary, so the title is in the middle, but it's very, very similar. So I ended up picking up this steelbook only because somebody had let me know that this version has Dolby Vision where this doesn't. Well, as I'm watching it, I feel that this had a little bit tighter film grain, and the colors on this I prefer a lot more. It's a very, very subtle difference, and going between the two different players and trying to see which one had the better version, it was a very difficult task, a very daunting task, but all in all, I still prefer the Dolby Vision off. And that's just that. But I didn't get that experience on many of my other films. I have hundreds of 4K movies, and a lot of them have Dolby Vision. I don't have many problems with them, but it has come up, and it has come up to my attention to the point where I did some deep dive research. And even in these Reddit forums, people are talking about how Dolby Vision is just too dark, or it's basically just oversaturated and they constantly have to adjust it. Now, those people may or may not know how to calibrate their television, but a wide group of people constantly saying that Dolby Vision is too dark, or specifically 4K movies in general are too dark compared to their traditional Blu-ray, it is something to talk about. Now, there are the 4K bros that are super excited about the format, and no matter what you say about it, you're wrong because 4K is great and you just have the wrong equipment or you have the wrong TV size. That's the conversation that comes up all the time. But I think that's just their justification of the money that they invested into this hobby and something that they're banking on. And I think it's no different than the people that buy the Xbox or people that buy the PlayStation and those video game conversations. And it's just like, you like what you bought, and so that's the best. And you want to feel that way. And so, I don't know. I have many formats of movies. I've been collecting movies for over 30 years. And the 4K format, even though I love it, it does have some problems. It is not perfect. And yes, it's still technically in its infancy, but there's always this talk of physical media dying and this is the last hurrah, blah, 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 blah. I don't think it's dying. I think physical media is here to stay, and there's definitely a new group of people that are coming up now that didn't have physical media. They grew up in the streaming service that are now buying physical media. People are rebuying DVDs and focusing on that. So while I think 4K is a niche and it's a very small portion of the hobby, I think it's great. If you have a nice big 4K television and you have a really good 4K movie, it's incredible. But certain things like this, and like I said, out of the hundreds of 4K movies that I have, I only have a few of them where I'm like, hey, something's off. And this was a major one. The Friends 4K, this caused me to go into this deep dive, and it's been several weeks of me just kind of mulling it over, researching it, watching my films, only watching the stuff, turning the Dolby Vision off, and I've had a much better experience without the Dolby Vision. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of all this. You're going to want to check out this video right here for more movie recommendations. And with that, remember to watch a movie today, and I'll catch you guys next time.